One is a Swedish missionary from a school near Gemlik on the Bosporus. She is also very uncomfortable in unfamiliar surroundings and gets lost easily.
That is truly wonderful. How did you arrive at this?
I helped her find the train inside the train station.
Well, it is an important lesson that when you know the facts, why bother with the clues?
The younger woman is British from her accent. She seems very capable and down to earth. If we'd been at school together, I believe we would have been friends.
Oui, she has a strong character, that one. Perhaps the strongest among us. But she is a mystery nonetheless.
Why do you say that?
You observed her embrace of the most passionate kind with a proper English gentleman this afternoon?
Yes, I did. Very un-English of both of them.
As you say. And yet now she sits at another table, indifferent to him and his glances.
Lovers quarrel?
What can have happened in so short a time for the lovebirds to fly from the light into the darkness? A good beginning. And what is there to say about the tanned British gentleman?
Military, I would say, from the way he carries himself.
Very good.
He has spent much time in the tropics.
Oui, some far-flung corner of the British Empire. India, perhaps.
He's not as proper as he looks.
Or he is so in love, it breaks down all the inhibitions.
They are married, but not to one another.
What did she say to him? Huh? Not now. Not now. When it is behind us, then.
They are waiting for the divorce to be final.
Perhaps. Tanned, military, or posting in Egypt, perhaps, or India. And now the grand lady who sits alone.
I'd say royalty, a princess. Russian, probably.
Oh, no. You will not play the same trick on Poirot twice. Alors, she too you have met?
I did a small service for her earlier today.
She has the very grim exterior, that one, but there is something about her, huh? A twinkle in the eye, perhaps? No, I think she is not quite so much the dragon as she appears. Alors, and across from her sits...
Hildegard Schmidt. Yes, I met her too. Quite unpleasant for a lady's maid. They're usually such mild creatures.
Vraiment. She also has sent her plate back to the chef twice for adjustments. Very particular about the cuisine. It would be nice if the menu was more varied. We march. This large table nearest the kitchen now, with the three gentlemen. What can you see?
The Italian sells motor cars. He's very enthusiastic about cars in general.
Oui, a salesman to his very soul, I would say.
The American appears to be a commercial traveler of some sort.
Oui, he carried the sample case when he boarded the train. Yet, I wonder. The case, it was quite small. Yet he seems very fit, does he not? The suit of such questionable taste, he can barely contain the muscles.
Can't a commercial traveler be athletic?
C'est possible.
The Englishman is very quiet.
He certainly does not share the enthusiasm for conversation of his companions. A superior sort, with a disapproving expression. That suggests nothing to you?
I'm afraid not.
A gentleman's gentleman, as the British would say.
A valet. Yes, I can see him pressing trousers and shining shoes.
And now, as discreetly as possible, observe the young couple directly behind me.
The man is very handsome, aristocratic. He dresses as an Englishman, but his accent is Hungarian, I think.
Oui, a diplomat, I believe, fiercely in love.
Fiercely?
The man who makes the unwanted advances to his young wife would suffer for it.
Her dress is exquisite, very expensive. And the jewels. Ah, she's lovely. The kind of woman a man would marry and lavish gifts upon.
It is very romantic, is it not? And yet I detect the melancholy in your voice, mademoiselle.
I'm sorry. I expect it's jealousy. I grew up in Jucar, a small town near Avignon. My parents wanted me to stay in Jucar and marry well, but I rebelled.
Ah.
Have you never rebelled, Monsieur Poirot?
These days, not so much, I fear. Rebellion, it is for the young.
I went to England too, to university, then out here to Istanbul. I wanted to get as far away from Jucar as I could. I wanted mystery, adventure, romance. I became a clerk. No mystery, no adventure, and certainly no time for romance.
Poirot is not so much the expert on romance. Yet mystery and adventure may be closer than you think. And now, to the last table, where the older gentleman has been glancing this way throughout dinner.
The older man's name is Ratchet, an American. Very coarse and brutish, despite the fine clothes and table manners. He forced his attentions on me in the bazaar today. I think he's been trying to renew the attempt all through dinner. He keeps looking this way.
Most would see the smiling round face with the pink cheeks and the brilliantly white teeth that are false and say, there sits a benevolent personality indeed.
There is no smile in his eyes.
No, there is a dark fever in them. Not a benevolent man, not a nice man at all. And forgive me, mademoiselle, but I do not think that he has been watching you. Poirot is the unfortunate victim of his interest this evening.
The younger American man is named Hector something. I like him. He seems very open and pleasant. He's Mr. Ratchet's secretary, I believe, but I don't think he's very happy in the position.
Perhaps an acquaintance worth cultivating for an attractive young lady traveling alone?
Monsieur Poirot, I would never be so forward.
Oh, but it is 1934, mademoiselle. Young ladies are forward, even those from Jucar.
Hector, I'm not having dessert.
I thought I might try the...
You go get started on those letters I dictated.
But I...
Yes, sir. I think I have the pleasure of speaking to Monsieur Hercule Poirot.
You have been correctly informed, monsieur.
My name's Ratchet. In my country, we come to the point quickly. Mr. Poirot, I want you to take on a job for me. It means big money. Big money. I'm a rich man. Rich men have enemies. I have an enemy.
Only one enemy?
Just what do you mean by that?
Monsieur, in my experience, when a man he is in a position to have, as you say, the enemies, then it does not usually resolve itself into one enemy alone.
I appreciate your point. Enemy or enemies, it doesn't matter. What matters is my safety. My life has been threatened, Monsieur Poirot. I'm used to taking pretty good care of myself. I'm not the kind of man to be caught napping, but you'll be extra insurance.
I regret, monsieur. I cannot oblige you.
Name your price.
I have been very fortunate in my profession, monsieur. I have made enough money to satisfy both my needs and my caprices. I take now only such cases as interest me.
What's wrong with my proposition?
If you will forgive me for being personal, I do not like your face, Monsieur Ratchet.
Train company employee. I have checked the baggage car for the supplies I ordered to be delivered here in Belgrade. There is no bacon. I will not make a breakfast tomorrow without the bacon. My reputation is at stake. Find me my bacon or I leave the train here and you can cook all the meals yourself.
Train company employee? I suppose it wouldn't hurt to look around. Belgrade. This will be a brief stop to take on supply. quite interesting.
Bloody awful weather.
The train better get moving soon. The passes west of here fill with snow pretty fast. Back in '29, there was a train trapped up there for a week.
Ah, Colonel Arbuthnot, isn't it? And Mr. McQueen.
That's right. Say, you're the company representative, aren't you? I heard there was one on the train.
Is there anyone in the station?
Only people we've seen were an attendant and a passenger, I think. They boarded that coach they're adding to the train. Then somebody turned out the station lights. It's the Athens-Paris coach, I think. Mr. Ratchet and I travel this route quite a bit.
Yes, well, I've all the fresh air I need, if you'll excuse me.
I'll be getting along then, too. Don't want to hold us up.
The architecture of the station is unremarkable, to say the least.
This is our company representative from Istanbul? A woman?
Mademoiselle Marceau, this is Tayyip, our engineer.
Klaus is missing a side of bacon.
He told me. I showed him the manifest. It was not on the Athens-Paris card.
What is the report from the station master?
It is not good, I'm afraid. Heavy snow is forecast for the mountains. The passes between Vancouver and Broad will fill up quickly.
How many passengers joined us here in Belgrade?
Only one. A Greek doctor, I believe.
I think I saw the Athens-Paris coach attendant board the restaurant car just now.
Really? He should be back in the Athens-Paris coach.
That will be enough, Pierre. Are you ready to go?
I have been ready. I am not the slow one here. It is the Serbs.
Can we reach Broad in this weather?
If any engine can get us through, it will be this 460.
I suppose I'll have to take responsibility if we go on.
Company representative? And a woman? No, this is my train, my decision. We go.
Serbian, I suppose. It would have to be Serbian. Antoinette, you're in Belgrade. You can't read these tags. The attendant I saw boarding the restaurant car came through this gate. I suppose that woman was seeing him off. The fountain looks rather forlorn in this weather. Antoinette, you are responsible for the passengers' well-being. Belgrade Station, not quite the splendor of Sakeki, but it is practical. The architecture of the station... The engineer and fire. Serbian, I suppose. It would have to be Serbian. If only I spoke Serbian. Serbian, I... Belgrade State. The architecture of... The architecture... The architect... Can you read Serbian?
A little.
Could you read some tags on the Prague luggage truck for me?
Yes, that appears to be a box of golf balls. That is, I believe, toilet paper, mademoiselle. From the looks of it, that crate contains more carrot juice than Prague will ever need. Slanina, we have found Klaus's bacon, Mademoiselle Marceau.
Will you take it to him so we can get underway?
At once.
I do not protest the addition of you in my room, miss. You have helped me, and I am glad of the company, and I am a Christian lady whose heart is filled with charity.
Fine, that's settled then.
But I have already been picking out the lower bunk for me, because I am afraid of the heights and the sudden stops of trains, and I would not like to return to the children broken.
The upper bunk will do fine for me. I'll look forward to the adventure.
And now, miss, excuse me, please. I will go to the WC, as you call it.
I was educated in England, but I'm French.
Oh? I was educated in Sweden, and I'm Swedish. You call it the toilet? Am I going to the toilet?
Mademoiselle Olsen, how you spend the next few minutes of your life is entirely your own private affair.
Yeah, it is.
One must look, one must listen at all times. If you were to listen at the door of any compartment, who knows what you may learn?
I'm still not sure I agree in principle, but perhaps I'd best give it a go. I can't hear through this wood. I'll need something to help me. The door is locked. This door is tight. Even now, fresh flowers.
A thousand apologies, mademoiselle, but may we speak later?
I cannot take these towels. They are of too fine a quality to waste on detective work. I cannot. The door to the Athens-Paris coach is locked. I can't hear through this wood. I'll need something to help me. Hello, Greta. Where have you been?
I am giving the headache powder to the American lady, Mrs. Hubbard. I do not think travel is suiting her the way it does you, and I miss.
This wash basin is shared by the two. The door is locked. I can't hear. I can't hear.
But look here, Colonel, your policy in India is obviously self-defeating. You can't keep it as a colony forever, you know.
I don't see why not.
You probably wouldn't have seen why not back in 1776, but America is free as a bird now.
And suffering through one of the worst economic depressions in history, I believe.
You're not seriously suggesting that if the United States had remained a colony of England, we could have avoided a depression?
I don't see why not.
That guy is the most stuck-up human being I've ever met. Even for an Englishman.
Ratchet's a valet?
Yeah, masterful. I'm glad I'm not traveling in the same room with him.
Oh, I like everybody. And him, he is as quiet as a little mouse.
You're welcome to him, that's my view. Deal the cards.
Not a sound. It's completely quiet in there.
Whatever you're reading appears to distress you.
It doesn't matter.
I can't hear anything.
Oh, Rudolph, it is a nightmare.
I know how hard all of this is for you. The only good thing about nightmares is that eventually we wake up.
Will you help me to be strong?
You are stronger than I, dearest. You have been through so much more.
My love, my love, my love.
Not a sound.
Mr. Snagsby is dismayed to see, standing with an attentive face between himself and the lawyer at a little distance from the table, a person with a hat and a stick in his hand, who was not there when he himself came in and has not since entered by the door or by either of the windows. Yet this third person stands there with his attentive face and his hat and his stick in his hands and his hands behind him, a composed and quiet listener. He is a stoutly built, steady-looking, sharp-eyed man in black of about middle age, except that he looks at Mr. Snagsby as if he were going to take his portrait. There is nothing remarkable about him at first sight but his ghostly manner of appearing.
Enough, Schmidt. Detectives are not so superhuman as Mr. Dickens suggests. They are as human as you or I. Now, I will rest for a short while.
Yes, Your Excellency.
I can't hear anything. It's completely quiet in there.
Mademoiselle, what are you doing?
Michel, you startled me. I'm testing. Monsieur Boost tells me there have been complaints from passengers that the compartments are not as soundproof as they might be, so I am testing to see if improvements can be made.
You are certainly being very thorough, mademoiselle.
The door to the Athens... I think I've heard all I can. I think I've heard all I can.